And we are live. Hi, my name is Tyriece Simon,
Elijah Jones.
and this is a UFC Fight Night recap. I do not. We gotta go back and archive and see what episodes we're on, man. I think
Bro,
we have to be at least about near 30.
honestly, with some as much content as we create, it's just hard. So yeah, you're right. We're really gonna have
Yeah,
to just go back and just really look at it and take it a chance because we got a lot of episodes, got a lot of content for you, got a lot of content on your resume. You got a lot of stuff that you're creating, and this is one of the shows. So yeah,
yeah.
we do. How are you today, Tyreece?
I'm doing well, man. It's raining outside, or it's about to start
Mhm.
raining, so I'm inside, staying out of the rain, so my computer don't get wet. And yeah, I'm just taking it easy this Sunday. How about you,
Hey
man?
man, I'm good. Same thing, man. Taking it easy. Not much to do. It's looking like it's supposed to be rain, so lazy day. But I'm okay with that.
Listen, if you're an NBA fan or you're a baseball fan, you got something to watch.
You do have something to watch. I know the NBA is definitely back at the bubble, but down in Florida, and then I know baseball made an attempt. Although I know one of the teams with the Florida Marlins, they like 14 people tested
Hmm.
positive for Corona. I was like, damn, it's not funny. I was like, shit, it's a
Yeah.
lot of people. So hats off to other sports getting the roll out, and I hope that everyone's easy and healthy. But go ahead, Tyrese.
No, I was gonna say before we start, I know you're gonna do your great introduction like you usually do. I was gonna say prayers to Trevor Giles and JoJo Caldwell who apparently fainted. Trevor Giles before his fight, JoJo Caldwell after her fight. So prayers to them.
Yeah, hopefully they're fine. They're recovering. I know they were saying that they've been brought to a hospital last night, so that's just keep them in the prayers for today.
Yeah. Go ahead, Elijah. Do your thing.
The anime glasses. Ting. Last night, Tyrese. I can't yell too loud because my mom's in another room.
All right.
Last night, UFC brought you another UFC fight night taking place at the UFC Apex Arena. That is in UFC's home headquarters in Las Vegas. Last night, we had Derek Brunson versus the upcomer Edmen Shabazyan in I want to say, one of the more interesting cards of the summer. And when we say interesting, we don't mean bad or good. We just say interesting in what we got. We didn't have those the typical huge stars, but what we got again was UFC building rising stars and getting them in positions where they are able to fight for the belt or putting them in line, for greater fights moving towards the belt. Last night main event, we got Edmen Shabazyan, the young up and rising star who trained in the same camp as Ronda Rousey under the coach Edmund Tarverdyan versus
Hey,
Derek Brunson.
movement! Hey, movement!
Derek Brunson, who has found some recent resurgence in his last three, fighting out of I think it's out of Florida, and for this fight camp, he specifically trained with 365 Hard Knocks coach. Give me his name, Tyrese.
Henry Hoof?
Yes, sir. That is him. Tyrese, what did you think of the fight?
Hey, movement! Hey, movement! No, seriously. There was head movement is a big key to this fight. One of the things I was noticed going into this was this fight a little bit too soon for Edmen Shabazyan? He beat Brett Tavares.
Yeah,
We were there to see it
yes, we
at
were.
UFC 244. A spectacular knockout. And
Spectacular.
and so when this fight came about with Derek Brunson versus Edmen Shabazyan, this was a big test to see whether he is a main player in this middleweight division.
Yeah,
And you know what? Leading into this fight, we talked about a little bit off air, was the way that the UFC was promoting Edmen Shabazzian going into the fight with the Ronda Rousey, uh, the cosign
yeah.
and the promos for him and all that. It seemed like they were pushing Edmen Shabazzian to be the next big middleweight to potentially be a title contender.
To be the potential to have what we would consider the youngest champion again. John Jones
Hmm.
has done it in history. John Jones became champion at 23 or 24, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
And
24.
24, and Edmen Shabazzian at the age of 23, and of course making strides in the middleweight division. The narrative from UFC seemed to be this is a potential star, a potential champion. If he gets past Brunson, he's on the road, which it's not wrong, right? That the math was there, the star math was there, right? He had impressive finishes. He was fighting on good cards. Of course, he's a young guy, so he's marketable for UFC, and he's a middleweight in a fast growing division. The middleweight division had a lot of stagnancy, around the time of Chris Weidman, and then with the introduction of Robert Whitaker winning, and Michael Bisping winning. The recent change in middleweight champions in the last, I want to say, 4 years has brought resurgence back to that division. And so, with that being said, UFC said, "Hey, this is him. We could do this." But last night proved what, Tyreece? What did it prove to us?
It proved that Derek Brunson is not a gatekeeper whatsoever. That I was amazed when people are calling Derek Brunson a gatekeeper. And two is that let's start with this there. I don't think it was too soon for Edmen Shabazyan.
No,
I think this is a great learning experience.
Agreed.
To see where you may lack in certain areas.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting also to see Derek Brunson not get a bonus after this performance, which was interesting.
Yeah. Although I will say, he fought a great fight. But we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about the performance variances and all that. But no, you're right. It's interesting to see that he didn't get it, being as how he was the main event.
And you can read between the lines there on why he may or may not gotten the performance bonus.
Yeah, that is.
With us saying at the UFC we've been promoting Edmen Shabazyan as the next big star. But looking at the fight, man, I thought Edmen Shabazyan looked a little bit. He looked different from Brad Tavares. And I gotta go back to watch the Brad Tavares fight as well, but who was there? But he seemed a lot more aggressive, a lot more just swinging for the fences and trying to knock out Derek Brunson in the first round. And he was just seen swinging, and he would land on Derek Brunson. He caught Derek Brunson, maybe even hurt him a little bit.
He hurt him a few times. Not drop. He didn't drop him, but he definitely hurt him. Like
Derek Brunson felt it.
Yeah.
And Edmen Shabazyan, in the meantime, would just take punishment. Like his head was wide open in the air, wide open to get landed on. There was a part in the first round where Derek Brunson throws a straight jab, which he has a great long arm to be able to catch people. A straight jab that caught him right against the fence. Then you see also in the fight where Derek Brunson has him against the fence, and he's not putting his hands up. He's just using his head in order to evade. And it made me think back to, and this, I know it's a bad comparison, but the Ronda Rousey correlation, and I know it's not the same, but hear me out. Yeah. Where could it just be this camp? Could it just be this camp? When I know we joke about Edmen Shabazyan and the whole head movement thing, infamous. But is this a legit thing?
I will agree with what you're saying in terms of his performance last night, right? What we haven't seen is him go past the first round. Really. Yeah. Right. I think in his. Oh yes. We haven't. I can't even say that. So I'll even start off with this. What we saw last night was not our typical Edmen Shabazyan, but I think that what was brought out last night was because of Derek Brunson. I think he made some calculated errors because he thought that he could finish Brunson in the first round. But Brunson is tough. And that's what Brunson has, that experience. And then with Brunson training with Hard Knocks, I think that was a very smart move to actually go down and train with Henry Hoost a little bit in terms of the striking on that, because not only because preparing for a striker just says this, because Derek Brunson sometimes has difficulty with strikers, right? We know in the past, it's not that it's difficulty in beating them, but it's difficulty in the judge's eye, right? When he fought Lyoto Machida, many people believe he won that fight. I was on the fence about it. I thought he was winning to a point degree. Then I was like, damn, Lyoto's coming back. But when he goes against strikers, he tends to just kind of go crazy. And what he was last night was he was much more reserved, but not in terms of striking. He just was more calculated in what he was doing. His counters were there. He's able to take Edmen Shabazyan down last night. So, in my opinion, I really think that, like you said, what happened is it's not too soon for Edmen to fight in Derek Brunson. I just think that Edmen had a great game plan for this guy, and I think it's just the experience of Derek Brunson that was able to go across and beat Edmen Shabazyan. Now, with that being said, I don't necessarily think it's Edmen Taverdian's fault, all in all, because this is his first loss. Now, this would be different if he was already at the top and then, he beat all these people. But the situation with Ronda, which is the other part that I will, differs for me, is that Ronda had beat women going up, but she wasn't beating the very top women, right? Because I don't think at that point the top women had gotten to the UFC, right? She fought Nunes, she fought Holly Holm, and when she fought the elite of the elite, what happened? Right? Like, she fought great, phenomenal fighters, but when she fought like the elite, when that division finally, that bantamweight division finally got built, when that division finally had a diverse plethora of women fighters, that's when Ronda had the issue. All right, and so I think in terms of the head movement and all that, I think Shabazyan, I think his game plan was to go and finish Brunson, and that just backfired. That just wasn't going to happen. And so after that failed, there was just nothing else.
Okay, so I'm gonna challenge. I think two things that you said.
Mm-hmm.
One, I don't necessarily think there was a game plan going into this fight, because it didn't seem like there was a game plan, because from the beginning it just seemed like the thought process was, I'm going to land and knock out Derek Brunson, and maybe some of that was nerves, maybe the nerves of the promotion and the UFC pumping him up as the next big thing, and Ronda Rousey being the cosign and talking up Edmen Shabazyan. There's a whole lot of eyes on Edmen Shabazyan, more so than ever. Yeah. Maybe that played a part into why he was so aggressive. But like, even from the beginning, he was just swinging and trying to land, and some of them were just wild looping punches that really didn't have no aim to it. It was I'm going to try to land and knock you out. And Derek Brunson, like you said, to his credit, Derek Brunson was patient. He stayed poised. He was able to counter and just land clean shots on Edmen Shabazyan, the straight jab, which was there for him. I believe Edmen Shabazyan, I think he tried to circle out at one point, and no, I'm sorry, I think that was Randy Brown fight, which I guess we'll talk about. But with Edmen Shabazyan, it just, and even when the eye poke happened.
Yeah.
When the eye poke happened, you see Edmen Shabazyan take that big deep breath, and he just seemed like he was out of the fight in the first round. So and he has gone 3 rounds before.
I already threw out the argument that he hasn't gone to 3 rounds, because he has before.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, and it sounds like you agree with me, because after trying to knock him out and being unsuccessful and realizing like this is not going to be as easy, there was nothing left. He had no other game plan. He had nothing else to do. He tried to stick to the striking. It didn't work, because not only was Brunson keeping up with him, he also threw strike counters, and Brunson did what he does best. He mixes up the boxing and the wrestling.
Yeah. Okay. I think we kind of, like, when you say game plan, I think of how do you're gonna go for the knockout, but how do you get to the knockout? And to me, it didn't seem like there was a game plan to get to the knockout. I was just saying, I'm gonna go in there and just go be aggressive and try to hurt him. There wasn't a game plan to get to it.
For some people, that's a game plan.
Well,
Mike Perry, right, walks in, I'm gonna knock you out, right? That's just it. And I don't think, there's nothing wrong with someone just saying they're going to knock you out. The game plan can be to knock you out. And it's nice when we appreciate the technical aspect of how people knock people out. But it looked like Taverdian was like, not Taverdian, sorry, Shabazyan was like, we're getting, he had started off as if he was getting the first round finish within the first 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't happen. And Brunson was a lot more prepared for the striking. And I think because of that, because of the nerves as well, I think he wasn't able to amount to anything else.
And the Ronda Rousey thing, is horrible. You can't really compare Edmen Shabazyan and Ronda Rousey, but they're the only people that are prominent in that camp that we know of.
Technically, yeah, because I don't think anyone else is fighting from that camp realistically.
Oh, sorry.
So where do you think Shabazyan goes from here?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, where do you think Shabazyan goes from here?
I think Shabazyan, I would like to see Shabazian face somebody like Marvin Vettori. I know Marvin Vettori been looking for a fight, and he deserves somebody ranked.
I,
And
I
I
feel like
think
I feel like Marvin Vettori will finish him. And
again,
if
tough.
but if Shabazian, I think Vettori is going to call for someone a little higher up in the rankings because if you think about it, right, Vettori, let's see what number. Oh,
Vettori's not
wait,
ranked.
wow, Vettori is ranked. He's 14. Wow, he's high.
Really,
Wait, timeout. I'm confused about this whole middleweight class now. How is
really interesting.
Vettori ranked lower than? Honestly, you're right. I think Shabazian might get Vettori because that's crazy. That I'm just going to read to you from 15 up. You have
Right.
Antonio Carlos Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Number 15, number 14, Martin Vettori, number 13, Ian Heinisch, number 12, Tavares, number 11, Amari Akhmedov, number 10, Uriah Hall, number 9, Edmen Shabazyan, number 8, Derek Brunson, number 7, Kelvin Gastelum, number 6, Darren Till, number 5, Yoel Romero, number 4, Jack Hermanson, number 3, Jared Cannonier, number 2, Paulo Costa, number 1, Robert Whitaker. Wow, that is not how I would have ranked any of like that. That when we get to that number 8, number 9 range, that's not how I would have ranked any of these people. But that's interesting.
Yeah, I think where Edmen Shabazyan is ranked number 9 or number
Yeah,
8, I think that it would make sense for Marvin Vettori to fight
I
Edmen
agree.
Shabazyan. I think that's another great test for Edmen Shabazyan to see exactly where does he stand in terms of being a ranked fighter.
I agree.
Whether you can make that argument then whether he is being pushed too soon.
Yeah. I mean, it's his first loss ever. We'll see how he reverbs off of it. We'll see what he learns from it. We'll see what he come back stronger from that. Right? It's really about the adaptability and what we really sit down and go over in terms of getting forward or progressing in division because he was bound to lose. I didn't think he was going to go undefeated for his career, but I think a loss sooner rather than later is better. But then later means you get close to the belt. So I don't know. But Vittori, I thought Vittori was higher. I could have sworn like what
No,
I wonder what's
no,
stopping Vittori from being higher though, in my opinion.
he's
Right?
not
Because
fighting anybody ranked. That's why.
yeah, right. That's it. That has to
Yeah.
be it. Because that's it. Because we talk about him and we talked about him in one of the shows, and we were like, we do think he's a great fighter. There's nothing to take away from that. But you're right. And in my opinion, he's not. He is doing well against people, but he's not fighting anyone really ranked. And I think that's the biggest. I think that's the reason as to why he's not getting higher in those rankings. So you're right about that.
Yeah. And
Okay.
he had the whole USADA issue and stuff like that. So, he had a couple of setbacks. So now I think that Shabazzian fight would make sense. For Derek Brunson, I think Derek Brunson versus Jack Hermanson.
I could see that. Or Derek Brunson could fight the winner of Weidman versus Amari Akhmedov, assuming that the winner is Weidman. Assuming,
Yeah.
because Weidman's a good name. Weidman's a good name to have on your resume.
Who else? Can you read the top 10?
Top 10 is Uriah Hall, who's engaged to fight Yoel. Then you have
Yeah.
9 is Shabazian. You have 8 Brunson, 7 Gastelum, 6 Till, 5 Yoel Romero, 4 Hermanson, 3 Cannonier, 2 Costa, 1 Whitaker. And on IG, Till called out Hermanson. So I think those two, I think that fight might be in the, it's not official, but those two have been, Darren Till's vocal on IG, especially with his like going back and forth with Whitaker, not in a bad way, but just general like, hey, I want to fight you. He called out, he's like, hey, Joker, you see me? Then Hermanson responded, I see you. And so that might be a fight UFC's interested in booking before they book Hermanson versus Brunson, which would suck, but
And then Kelvin Gastelum, I think, maybe hurt too after his last fight. So yeah, maybe Derek Brunson does fight Weidman or the man you mentioned before.
or he could get potentially the winner of Hall versus Costa. That could be not Costa, sorry, Hall versus Yoel Romero, because Brunson has fought Yoel Romero before, and hey,
And didn't Brunson beat Uriah Hall too?
Brunson knocked out Uriah Hall. He finished him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
There
that
you
would
go. There you
so
go.
those are 3 good potential fights for him. And moving on, the women's. The what women's? Tyrese, bring it up. The women's flyweight division.
The Shevchenko division.
The Shevchenko division.
That I don't see anybody beating Shevchenko anytime soon in that division, and that's
You
just
know,
it's
skill gap.
sad, but yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There's some dominant performances in that division, right? Flyweight has some, and again, this is I think flyweight and building a new division, right? There's going to be one who reigns over until a division is completely stacked, right? With a plethora of fighters, plethora of skills. Then you have the people who mix it all together well. Then you have the people who are championship level, right? When you finally get those people, which I think it's getting to the point where it's trying to get those championship level fighters or build those championship level fighters. They're trying. I didn't say it's done. That's when the division is complete to me. And I just don't think this division is complete enough to the point where Valentina Shevchenko can be dethroned.
Yeah, so interesting thing about this is Jojo Calderwood was set to fight Shevchenko earlier this year before the COVID-19 situation happened. They were going to fight in Perth, Australia in June.
Yep.
That was going to be the Max Holloway versus Alex Volkanovski card, which again, that would have been great for Alex Volkanovski to fight in Australia, but COVID happened and things changed.
Here we are.
And then Shevchenko got hurt. So Shevchenko was out for a long time, out longer than what was expected. So Jojo Calderwood took on this fight on 1 week's notice. 1 week's notice.
Which is interesting. I applaud Jojo Calderwood because she's actually ranked number 3 in the flyweight rankings. And Jojo Calderwood is one of the more complete fighters of, it's not bad for me to say that, but she's one of the more complete fighters because she mixes up the striking very well with her grappling, right? We like to see her throw push kicks. She utilizes a jab here and there. She likes to get off the center line and shoot for takedowns when she can. But last night, she unfortunately lost Jennifer Maia, who had been, of course, training. But you take a fight, you take a fight. Jojo Calderwood lost by first round armbar, technique was impressive. To be honest, technique was impressive.
Yeah, I thought Jennifer Maia I think she was ranked maybe number 8 or 9 in that flyweight division.
Jennifer Maia was ranked number 6.
Number 6. Okay, so she was ranked number 6, and then she was coming off of a loss against I believe it was Caitlin Chukagian, right?
Yes. Caitlin Chukagian.
Which that was the fight to decide who's going to be the number 1 contender for the Shevchenko fight, and Caitlin Chukagian won that fight and will go on to fight Shevchenko. The thing about the Jennifer Maia fight was, one, her boxing looked good. She had great head movement.
Boxing looked good. Boxing did
head
look
movement.
Good. Key, huh?
Key. It has to be key. Major key. Her jab was good. And then when Jojo Calderwood took Maia to the ground, she was able to get into almost an omoplata off the back, and then she was able to transition. She tried going for the armbar once or twice and able to get it finally, and was able to submit Jojo Calderwood. From a person that probably was not looking at a title fight anytime soon, Jennifer Maia is the biggest winner of this whole entire card. Because now she's going from not even being thought of being a next title contender to now being
tweeted.
Shevchenko tweeting out, "I'll see you soon, Maia."
And you know what? Shevchenko is not someone who likes to sit around. She likes to stay busy.
Mm-hmm.
She's a champion who likes to stay active because her main goal is to test her skills, right? That's the one thing that she wants to do. With the skill gap, my brother is a big fan of her, actually. He just said that she's a killer. My brother said she's tattooed. Yeah, my brother said he should test her skills against people whose skills just aren't there against her. And so it's true. And it's not her fault, right? It's not that she again, that division isn't completely built yet, but it's not her fault. She's fought people. She's beat people. She has great game plan. She has great strike game, mixes up grappling well, has great takedown defense. All in all, she's going to reign supreme for a while. But
and the thing about the Jojo Calderwood situation was, you can make an argument that maybe because of just the timing and the place that she was the number 1 contender, but her last win was a split decision win over I think Andrea Lee.
Yeah.
Over Andrea Lee. So it wasn't really like it was a dominant performance either. And she was also lost to Caitlin Chukagian as well.
Yeah, I think in that division, Chukagian stands out as one of the better prospects because Chukagian she's good and she's beating everybody. The issue is that gap between Chukagian, the division, and Shevchenko.
Yeah, so and Shevchenko already beat Chukagian pretty convincingly as well. So, Jennifer Maia, in my opinion, she if Shevchenko would be ready, you could do that fight. Or they're trying to sneak out the former strawweight champion Jessica Andrade moving to flyweight and fighting Jessica I.
Yeah, that's what they're
That's
toting because
yeah.
I saw that. That's gonna be good. Please talk about that.
Yeah,
I know you're excited about that.
that's flying under the radar, especially when I think we talked about it in our last show that we did that
Mhm.
Jessica Andrade may go up to 125 and face Shevchenko. Because after this Rose Namajunas fight, we were saying what's going to happen next with Jessica Andrade, and then we have our answer. If Jessica Andrade beat Jessica I, she may be close to that title shot as well.
Agreed. Agreed. It's not going to take much. It's not going to take much. Again, given the world and given the environment where many people can't fight, some people have to fight. But many people can't fight. You have this like kind of array. It's not a wild west in most divisions, but in divisions such as middleweight and women's flyweight, flyweight, lightweight right now. Like you have not lightweight, sorry, featherweight. You have a wild west of contenders who where one to two fights puts you right in there, right? Depending on who, it's like call out, get them in the cage. You impress, one more fight, impress, champion. So again. It's not. We talked about this last show. It's not impossible if we see what's called Jessica Andrade up there, and it's not impossible that we see Maya fighting by the end of the year.
Let me ask you this before we go off this topic: if Shevchenko is unable to compete by the rest of the year, because we're in August now, we have a couple more fight cards left in the year. I would think Shevchenko will be on the pay-per-view. Would you do an interim title fight until Shevchenko is fully ready to fight?
I don't see her. I mean, I don't want to jinx it. Knock on wood. Realistically, I don't see her being injured because I think she's been she's recovering from the injury now. What I will say is, in the event that she can't fight, I would do. Let me just look at the rankings real quick. We have Chukagian 1, Calvillo 2, Calderwood 3, 4 is Lauren Murphy. 5 is Jessica I, 6 is Jennifer Meyer. Okay, Lauren Murphy actually is coming off an impressive, I think he's coming off an impressive win with a good performance recently, and so is Cynthia Calvillo. So realistically, what I could see happening right now is Calvillo possibly fighting Maya and Chukagian maybe fighting one of those. I think. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'll say that. Either I could see an interim title fight, but the fact is you have 3 people who could possibly fight for the title again. You have Caitlin Chukagian, who just beat Antonia Shevchenko, so obviously she's going to want to get revenge for her sister. Then you have Cynthia Calvillo, who went up to this division, who's doing really well. Then you have Lauren Murphy and Jennifer Maya. So that's 4 fighters right now. That's 4 fighters who technically who can fight for the belt. I think given 2 more fights between those 2, like those 4 fighters, yes. But if Antonia wants to fight right now, I see maybe Chukagian get another shot. But if not, I definitely see an interim belt by the end of this year if Shevchenko is hurt.
Yeah, so I don't think Caitlin Chukagian is getting a title shot anytime soon. Just because the fact that Valentina Shevchenko dominated her and beat her, finished her. And I think the sister being an element. I think that's a good point on you bringing up. But I don't think that's necessarily because the loss is so fresh in people's minds that I don't think they're gonna push for that. It could be something down the line, but until a couple of wins on Caitlin Chukagian part, then we can talk about that. I think Lauren Murphy is not gonna get the next shot, even though she's on a 3-fight winning streak. I don't think they're gonna necessarily give it to her.
She took a lot of time off, if I'm not mistaken, right? She had an injury or something like that. She took a lot of time off before these last couple fights.
Yeah, she beat Roxanne Modafferi in June.
Yeah.
This year, and she fought Andrea Lee in February, so she's been consistent this year. Yeah. But I think you would get either Cynthia Calvillo is gonna if they were doing an interim title fight, Cynthia Calvillo is gonna be on that list of the challenger.
I agree.
And I think you could, if depending on Jessica I and Jessica Andrade, or depending on Jennifer Maya, they may be the people that slide in to that spot. But Cynthia Calvillo is going to take that spot, and then if Jessica Andrade beats Jessica I, that's the fight to make.
Yeah. If things get sorted with those 4 people, right? If like maybe Chukagian fights Murphy, that could be interesting. Yeah. It depends on the matchups that get made next, right? Because the matchups would define whether or not there could be an interim because of the star power of the fighters, and 2, because of the ranking of where they would be at that time.
Yeah.
So again, I could see an interim happening. It wouldn't be terrible for the division if Shevchenko's injured, but I don't see her getting injured because I think she's trying to stay healthy and trying to whoop ass. So,
We'll see what happens.
sir.
And lastly, any other fights on the card that you want to expound on a little bit here?
Well,
There honestly really wasn't like a lot of we said before. There wasn't a lot of big names, but there was some interesting prospects and some interesting matchups that happened.
there were good fights on this card, right? There were good people where good people get his name. What I will say is the two fights that I want to talk about. One is Bobby Green versus Lando and Vicente Luque versus Randy Brown. I'll start with Bobby Green and I'll make it short and sweet. Bobby Green, I've told you this. Bobby Green has always been a good fighter, right? I've told you this that I've been always interested in him as a talent. At lightweight, he's done very good things. He's beaten some interesting people back. Remember when back when UFC was acquiring a lot of Strikeforce lightweights like I forget his name, but he was able to beat a lot of people. Let me go back and just double check. Where is he at? UFC had gotten Pat Healy. Remember, like a lot of those remember a lot of people like Josh Thompson. When everyone came over to UFC after Strikeforce, UFC absorbed Strikeforce, Bobby Green was one of those talents who was able to beat a lot of those top tier guys, right? And then when it came to UFC's top talent, like Edson Barboza, Dustin Poirier, he didn't win. And those guys are always at the top echelon of the sport now, right? I think Bobby Green, when he finally puts it together, he could be a dominant force in the lightweight division. He has the boxing, he has the timing, he sets a good pace, he has the cardio. The only thing is sometimes he gets a little overzealous and he gets caught, which has been shown in his fights. But these last two performances have shown that it's a more focused Bobby Green. And I want to say that Daniel Cormier has always said this. When Bobby Green puts it together, Bobby Green is an unstoppable force. And like he pushes forward, has a great jab, has a great hook. And his boxing is slick. So I'm excited that Bobby Green won. I'm sad that Lando won because, Lando's my guy. Lando's my boy. It's just his style doesn't necessarily cater to those fights. And I think everyone realizes once you take away his mobility and his slickness, you're able to tag him. So,
yeah. The thing with Bobby Green also is the fact that he had maybe he makes some arguments that, his last two decision losses, he probably won. So he may be on a more of a win streak than he actually is. But I thought he had a great performance. It's unusual to have success with your hands down, like he did. But he was able to do a great job able to land a jab multiple times on Leno Venata. He was able to use his head movement, and he was able to get the win. And he would look for takedowns as well. Like he really had a well-rounded game into this fight, and he proved that Bobby Green's gonna be around for a while.
Bobby Green's gonna be around for a while. I think I think with more coaching, with more staying diligent, staying dedicated, I think he could crack into the top 5 soon. I think he could do it.
Let's say top 15. Let's start slow. Top 15, and we'll work from there.
I'm gonna shoot for the stars. I think Bobby Green can do it.
All right.
But anywho, and then the last fight is Vicente Luque versus your boy. You can go ahead and talk about this one.
Yeah, so Vicente Luque proved again that he is somebody that's going to be a threat in the Westwood division. I like that he called out. Nate Diaz, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Nate Diaz ain't fighting nobody unless they get money.
Yeah.
Move on.
But I do like that he's calling people out and he's looking to fight. I think the more reasonable fight would be Stephen Thompson.
To get that to avenge that. I think maybe one more fight and maybe get that fight. I don't know.
Because I think welterweight is pretty much booked right now. I think you got Neil Magny for going to fight Michael Chiesa soon, right?
Yeah. No, Neil Magny is actually fighting Jeff Neal.
Jeff Neal. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they booked that fight. So Michael Chiesa would be a good fight for Vicente.
You know what? Yeah. I didn't even think about that. I thought Jeff Neal was.
Or Damian Maia.
I don't think Damian Maia is a good fight for Vicente Luque. I think somebody like if Neil Magny and Jeff Neal are going to fight, which I think is amazing. Then I would do Michael Chiesa. I think Michael Chiesa versus Vicente Luque will be a great fight. The Stephen Thompson fight, the thing about Stephen Thompson is I don't see who he's fighting. Like Stephen Thompson is in a weird position where, like
is he not? I don't know if he's fighting. What's going on?
Yeah,
what is going on?
He's in a weird position where he's fought a lot of people in that division, He's fought Tyron Woodley. Maybe he could run that back again. I don't think people want to see that. Leon Edwards is not going to fight Stephen Thompson. The upper echelon, Jorge Masvidal. I don't know if you know what? Jorge Masvidal may fight Stephen Thompson. Who knows?
It's funny actually too, because I remember that. I remember watching that fight, and I remember you were like, "Oh, Masvidal is gonna beat Thompson." I was like, "I don't know," and it was not bad. It's just that at that time you were like, "Yo," you were telling me more about. Like I knew about Jorge Masvidal, but you were telling me, and you were going off about how his I think he fought Maya at that time too. I think he was coming off of like a loss of Maya, or he was gonna fight Maya next. But we were talking about Jorge Masvidal as a talent. You're like, it's possible that he can get the job done, which I was like, cool. But then he started off well, but then Thompson, again, what happens with Thompson, right, is that his adjustments and reads in a fight enable him to win. And it's not that he's super technical. The issue is he's just super technical. And his karate style is really hard unless you're up above, unless you're his height, or unless you train with a karate person for forever. It's just hard to deal with. We saw that with Vicente Luque, where he had early success, but after that,
yeah,
he makes the read. So it's hard for a guy, right? And like you said, like Stephen Thompson's beating everybody. So like I feel like he's in the nicest way possible. He's like, I'm just gonna wait till they want to give me a top 5 guy. I feel like that's what's happening. I don't know.
Maybe, but I mean, I think Vicente Luque versus Michael Chiesa. I think now that I know that Neil Magny and Michael Chiesa is not happening, that's the fight to make. That's definitely the fight to make.
All right. Well, that's all the fights that are really interesting.
Yeah, honestly, it was a good fight night. It was some good fights on there. Another fight to probably mention is Jonathan Martinez. He had a good performance against Frankie Saenz, but he has to make weight. That's the only issue there. And like I said, Trevor Giles, unfortunately, he fainted before his fight against Kevin Holland,
which is crazy.
And Kevin Holland's going to fight. He is going to fight on next week's card Saturday, or this week's card Saturday.
Yeah.
Fight point to be determined. And again, thoughts go out to Jojo Calderwood and Trevor Giles, who unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah. You want them speedy recovery. You want to make sure that everyone's fine. That's what they fight. Again, fighters put their life on the line in terms of doing all this. So we want to make sure that they're fine and safe. Well, first and foremost.
Okay. You want to grade this card?
I'm gonna go solid C. I'm gonna go solid C. Nothing wrong with anything. Just solid C though. What about you?
And I was questioning whether to grade this card because I mean it's 8 fights. It wasn't really any high stakes and stuff for the co-main event and the main event.
Yeah.
I'll go a solid B minus.
B minus. Dang, now I feel like a jerk. C plus. In fact, I change it. Never mind. B minus. B minus. I feel like a C is a terrible card. We'll go B minus. We'll go. Tyriece convinced me. Everybody. Tyriece.
There was a ton of dick shots in it. There was a ton of low kicks to the dick in this card. So
knees too. There were knees to like the low blows were crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't. You know what? I gotta bring it down. I'll bring it back to a C plus. C plus.
Bro,
I'm not gonna go back and watch this card. I'm not gonna go back and watch this card. There were great performances like Derek Brunson, who did a phenomenal job. Jennifer Maya, incredible job. Vicente Luque proved why he is who he is, and he should be somebody to reckon with in the welterweight division.
I think this card was statements tonight, right? I think it was everybody had to solidify, and we're in a lot of finishes, but I think when people it's all finishes, we love to see that, right? Like we love to see an impressive technical standpoint. But what I also, me and you talk about, we also like to see technical performances that put people in terms of skill gaps ahead of each other, in terms of skill level ahead of each other. So I think there was a lot of that went on tonight. I think that was a big tale of the tape too. But
but you obviously seen once you got to the co-main event and the main event, even before the main event, but take a look at fight, you see the level of just technique and stuff like that was very, very different from the beginning of the fight. Which is not to say anything wrong with the competitors. Also, shout out to the guy that beat Yunho's Joseph Nathan Menes. Joseph Nathan Menes. He beat Johnny Yunho's Jr. On the card as well. I thought he had a good performance.
Nathan Menes.
Yeah, he had a great performance, but. Other than that, I would say C plus. I'm not gonna go back and watch this card.
No. All right. Well.
Also, friend of the show, Keith Lee, his lovely now wife, got married. So congratulations.
Let me tell you something. That's a good guy. That's just a good guy. After meeting and talking to him, it's a good guy. And happy wish nothing but happiness to him. And I'm sure his baby is due soon, actually, in September, he was saying. So with his wife, and they've ever set up everything, and they have a channel. Everyone, listen, go tune in. He's a great guy. He's good people, good family, black family.
Yes. And he's a really good dude, and it's me and you talk about it off there. It's happy to see him, doing this whole entire time, being able to, he's getting married, having a kid, has his Bellator debut this year. I'm happy for him. Check out his YouTube channel, Keith and Ronnie. That's his YouTube channel. You can see a little bit more Keith Lee from behind the scenes. Elijah, anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
No, heading out. I'm gonna go hang with the family now. What about you?
You know what? I'm gonna watch some basketball, watch some baseball, and I'm gonna enjoy the day, man. Enjoy the day.
Okay.
And everybody here, enjoy your day. We will see you guys next week. Signing off.
Thank you for everyone for watching. We really appreciate the fans. We love to see everyone watching, tuning in, and sharing and supporting. And of course, if we can share or support any of your page, always hit us up on the YouTube channel.
Most definitely. And last note to make: at all times, when you're in a fight, or even in life in general, you have to have head movement.
Don't just slip because you get caught with a hook and you slip, roll.
Head movement.